I'm Natalie Clark.
Hi, Natalie, thanks a lot. Well, it has now been 73 days since Toledo was paralyzed by the water crisis early August, and we're continuing our promise to find answers for you.
Today, we were the only Toledo station to have a news crew in Columbus covering an important meeting between farm leaders and algae scientists. Meteorologist Ryan Weekman joins us now with the report you'll only see on 11. Ryan, what did you find out today?
Well, Ashley, it all comes down to phosphorus getting into our waterways. The algae, it feeds on it. And through this, a 96-page state report, we know agriculture along the Maumee River is the largest source for that phosphorus. And today we heard both sides, farmers and scientists, on how we can fix the problem.
If we don't reduce loading, the problem will expand and will affect more cities in the future.
That's a dire forecast from the state's leading scientist on Lake Erie algae. Dr. Jeff Reuter has seen this before. He was one of the scientists who helped bring back Lake Erie during the 60s and 70s. He thinks making a healthy lake this time around is going to be an even bigger undertaking.
Instead of dealing with 20 sewage treatment plants, you're dealing maybe with 8,000 farmers, and that's a greater challenge.
But a comeback is possible. Algae forecast models show that phosphorus entering Lake Erie via the Maumee River needs to be cut by about 40%. That's a big ask for local farmers, and the answer isn't as simple as forcing them with regulation.
It's expensive, and it's going to take lots of people, and it's very difficult, and it's going to be very difficult to substantiate in a court of law if it gets to that point.
Many of the speakers today expressed a belief that new research and education programs can bridge the gap to keep regulation out of the fields.
Up until 2012, up until the Toledo water crisis, the scientists have been talking for years that we needed to do more research and develop more technology, but the funding was never there. Now there's an impetus to fund some people to do the work we need to do to find the answers.
So some good news. If the corner can be turned on phosphorus coming out of farm fields, keeping more of it out of Lake Erie, scientists believe that results can and will happen quickly.
So the retention time for water in the Western Basin is 20 to 50 days. If we reduce the load, this problem goes away almost immediately.
Well, Ryan, you've been great at breaking down this information for us, but why is this happening in Lake Erie? Is there something special about Lake Erie?
Well, the fact that Lake Erie is so shallow and it sits so far south compared to the other Great Lakes, it gets warmer, the algae can grow for longer than the other lakes, and the Maumee River feeding right into it has a good source of nutrient and warm water. It's the breeding ground for bacteria and algae.
Yeah, you will well know that many of our farm friends say, hey, wait a minute, we have reduced our use of phosphorus. Some of the big ones like the Scots have taken phosphorus out. The problem's getting worse. We're reducing phosphorus. That doesn't seem to wash here.
Yeah, it seems like it's counteractive, but when we were down at the meeting today, the farmers recognized what the problem was. We were dealing with farm leaders from around the state, the Farm Bureau, and they recognize that they still have room to cut back on this, and we're willing to move forward. And I think that we will see a lot of work on the farmers' part to help cut this back over the next several years. This is going to be a long-term issue.
Not a feeling that we're picking on farmers.
We are not picking on farmers. It was a sense that we were moving forward with farmers. Everybody was really trying to find a common solution to it.
And still some discussion, debate over whether it needs to be voluntary or actually force mandatory regulation.
And tonight at 11, I'm going to address that because that was the big question today.
Great stuff out of Columbus. Great comments.
Thanks so much. Well, let's